That's all part of the family patterning. So when we're talking about what is familiar and comfortable because of your family upbringing, all of that's folded into. It affects who and what you're attracted to and what you believe is possible. We're going to talk a bit more about the traps we can get into there, but right now let's talk about the other side of the attraction coin, which is not who we're attracted to, it's who we're attracting to us. You might have heard this term, as within, so without, as above, so below. Who we attract is a mirror for what we experience within ourselves, what we believe to be true for ourselves. So if you're having a pattern of attracting the same person over and over again, and you're like, this is not what I want. Why do I keep attracting these pigs? There's going to be something to look at internally. I'm not saying you're a pig. There's something inside you that's drawing something towards you. And this can all be unpacked and shifted, felt into, embraced.
It's amazing. I hated this. I hated knowing this. When I discovered this, I was like, I don't want to know this. This isn't true. It was so easy for me to point the finger at other people. They're emotionally unavailable. And I keep attracting emotionally unavailable men. And it was like, universe, why do you keep sending me emotionally unavailable men? Is this all that there is out there? And you start believing that that's all that there is. And then I was presented with the idea that perhaps could you, Georgianna, maybe also sometimes be emotionally unavailable? It's like, what do you mean? No, of course not. I'm right here, emotionally available and ready, and have been for decades, waiting for someone to meet me here. Well, I was mistaken. And I had to really do my own shadow work to really get clear on, how do I get in the way? What am I terrified to experience with someone emotionally, even though I claim to want that? And how do I begin to shift some of those patterns without shaming myself? Just knowing, hey, there's a reason why I have my own version of emotional unavailability. My version is sneakier to see because it doesn't look like running away and pushing someone away or burning it to the ground. It looks like choosing people who, upon further reflection, after some more shadow work, I realized they were unavailable the whole time and I was never going to be met here. And this is what I know.
Mm-hmm. There's a huge piece in there about being able to face and hold your own feelings, right? We can think we want this big emotional connection, but if we're in denial about what our own feelings are and we can't hold those, we cannot open to other people. So we'll unconsciously attract people who are not available to us because that protects us from having to open up in the first place, which is something that we're scared to do. The minute you start being with your own feelings in a loving, compassionate way, instead of the judgment that we typically offer ourselves before we start doing this work, you will find people who can hold them with you. And then you get to do the work of learning how to be with that.
The kicker for me, because I know some people would self-proclaim, I'm a closed off person. I sort of go more to the mind than go to the emotion and the body. But like, I truly held this belief about myself that I was very open. And I was very open in some ways, much more than maybe the average person. And I think I allowed that to sort of play a trick on me, to have me think that I'm actually a very open and emotionally vulnerable person in intimate relationship. And I realized, I'm actually not as vulnerable as I thought that I was. And when I worked on that piece, when I learned how to see and feel my reality in the moment more clearly and accepted it and didn't make it wrong, ta-da, emotionally available people showed up. What?
It's magic. The emotional availability piece illustrates what we think we want consciously versus what we unconsciously believe. So we think we want someone who will show us all of their emotions, but then our patterning has us freaking out when that happens if we're not comfortable with our own emotions. And the same thing happens with whatever belief system we've got. So tying this back into all the familial beliefs we've been programmed with, and socially as well. So let's take the example of men are pigs, right? Classic. These are the two classics. Men are pigs, women are crazy. That's what we're typically dealing with when we come into our groups. These are the underpinnings that we've all got. So if you believe that men are pigs, guess what the universe is going to reflect back to you? A bunch of pig men. And then you won't be able to see any of the beautiful stallion men who are also there. And then this becomes the filter through which we view the world, and we experience relationships, and we experience dating. We experience whoever's available to us on the apps. We've shrunk our world exponentially.
So our minds tell us we want one thing, but our body might actually freak out when it shows up. And so that's why we want to notice what's happening in our bodies and gently and with compassion, learn how to be with it, learn how to feel that thing that's uncomfortable and just hang with it for one breath, maybe up to 3, but no need to do more than that. You're going to grow your capacity to be with this discomfort so that when people show up who are what you say you want, but your body feels confused, we can actually do a little check and be like, no, I actually do want this. Hey, body, this is safe. It feels different, but I'm safe here. I'm safe to stay and explore and be curious here. And that's what we want to be able to do.